Hello, everybody. Here we are in my lovely office. We're not going to be playing straight pool tonight, as the title says. We are going to watch two of my APA 8-ball matches, and I'm going to try to remember what I was doing during those matches, so that way, hopefully, I can explain as to why I do the things that I do, to hopefully be able to control the table, to be able to win racks, point out any mistakes, and then, of course, try to offer any type of advice that I can give my opponent if they happen to catch the live stream, or if they just happen to see the video in the future. Because the people that I do show on my live streams here, I do have their permission to post. Because usually, if they don't want to be on YouTube, then I have to either not publicize it or do a post-production video and just edit them out the video to where only you see me shooting, which is what I had to do with the very first APA match that I ever put on my YouTube channel. Um, so yeah, this is probably going to be a short stream. I've been trying to figure out whether or not, like, how many matches should I try to review in one live stream. I think the very first time I live streamed reviewing my matches, because I used to do them by just making them recorded videos and just clip them all together until they're all done. The first time I did a live stream of reviewing them on the fly, I did 4 of them, and I think the live stream was pretty darn long. I think the last time I did a live stream, I only did 3, and it was still, I guess, still a little lengthy. So now I'm gonna try 2, and we're gonna see how this one is going to work. What we're gonna do here is, obviously, I'm just gonna chat with everybody for a little bit, and then we'll switch over. I've got a scene layout that I have, just like how I did my straight pull scene, that everybody can be able to watch. And then when that match is over, we'll come back to this chit chat for a little bit, like a little intermission, and then go over to the next match, and that'll pretty much be done for the stream. So let's see here. A couple of announcements. If you haven't seen it already, if you look at the pinned comment in the live chat, that is to let everybody know that I have a giveaway going on right now. And the current giveaway is for this J Flowers break cue. This is the JF-BK2, otherwise known as the J-Force break cue. The pinned comment is a link to the product review video that I did on this cue. I think it was 19.4 ounces. This is a embossed leather grip wrap that feels really nice. And it has a 13 millimeter carbon fiber shaft. This shaft happened to be pro tapered. I actually was kind of expecting this shaft to be conical, but it turns out it was actually pro tapered. This cue is currently retail valued at $352 if you decided to try to buy one for yourselves instead of waiting for the giveaway to be over, because for the giveaway that I'm doing, the product review video, I'm waiting for that video to get over 1,000 likes. And when that video gets at least 1,000 likes, or a certain number of time passes by, because I'm going to give the cue away regardless, if it hits 1,000 likes or not. It's just a matter of how long do I want to wait, basically. And I would hope to eventually get 1,000 likes, but if it just gets a little too long, then I'll eventually still pick a winner. Because what I'll do is, let me start off by this. In order for you to have a possibility to be eligible to win this break cue, you have to check out the product review video that's in the pinned comment above. You have to give that video a thumbs up, because like I said, I'm waiting for it to get 1,000 likes. You have to leave a comment in the comment section, and you have to be a subscriber to my channel. But not only do you need to be a subscriber, you have to make sure that your subscription list is public. Because when I decide to choose a winner, what I do is I randomly select a comment out of the comment section for that video. And whoever's comment gets selected, I go to their channel. And regardless if they produce content or not, I have to be able to see their subscription list, because I want to see that I'm in their subscription list to let me know that they're one of my subscribers. Because if all those conditions are met, then that lucky person will be the winner. Because there have been times where I've selected somebody, I go to their channel, and I can't see their subscription list. So therefore, I have to go and pick somebody else. Or I select a winner, I go and check out their channel, I see their subscription list, but I'm not in it. So therefore, I have to choose somebody else again. So when you get the time, doesn't have to be right now, because right now you're here to watch a live stream. Be sure to check out the video that's in the pinned comment. It'd be great if you could maybe share it to your favorite social medias, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, your own Facebook profile, or whatever. Just something to help it get its exposure out to multiple people, so that way I can give it away to a lucky subscriber. If you go throughout my channel, you'll have seen that I've done plenty of giveaways, and I usually try to get like some pictures or a video clip of my previous winners when they received their prizes and stuff. And the picture or the video will be with them with their stuff, using their stuff, and enjoying it. So that way I show everybody, that I actually do give these things away. They do end up in other people's hands and stuff. And then from what I've heard so far, everybody seems to enjoy everything that I've given away so far. Okay. Another announcement. If you were here for my last straight pool live stream, all right, I think my high run for that live stream, which was what, yesterday, I think. Oh, it wasn't yesterday. It was 2 days ago, Saturday. That's what it was, Saturday. I ended up only getting a 38, but I did publish a high run attempt where I got a 56. It was a 56, or was it a 54? I don't even remember now. Yeah, I honestly don't remember. No, I think it was a 56. That's what it was. And 56 is no longer the new personal best. I have another high run attempt recorded that I did earlier today, but instead of trying to publish it as well as go live like I did on Saturday, which turned out to not be a good thing to do, because the video just really didn't seem to get the views that I would want, which is fine. I mean, I don't expect all videos to do well, but whenever I decide to take a break from work, I go out into my garage, I attempt to do a high run attempt a couple of times, and I record those attempts just in case something special happens and I get a new high run attempt. And I got another one today. But I'm not going to spoil what the score is. You're just going to have to wait and see when I release that video tomorrow, because I still have to edit it, and figure out what kind of goofy sound effects or goofy special effects that I want to add to it or whatever. But it was cool. It was good to see, but I still really, really want to be able to hopefully do a performance like these recordings live. That way everybody can be able to see it and still be a part of this journey with me, as I'm trying to be able to score 100 points, at least 100 points, without missing. Because I'm totally addicted to playing straight pool now. It's pretty much all that I do in my garage. And then when I go out in public, that's when I'll play like 9-ball or 8-ball, or in my leagues or in tournaments or whatever. But trying to get a high run at straight pool, that's pretty much like my kick right now that I'm really enjoying to do. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. If y'all could do me a favor though, because I see that I have at least 40 plus people in here and only 23 likes. If you haven't done so already, please give this stream a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot by allowing other people to be able to discover the live stream while we're going on, because it hopefully pushes the stream into the YouTube algorithm. And then, of course, it helps my channel become more discoverable when YouTube realizes that more and more people are coming to watch my stuff. So I'd really appreciate it if you give this stream a thumbs up. But now, let's switch over to the first match of the evening. Here we go. Now, in this matchup here, I am playing up against a skill level 6. So you should see that this is going to be a race to 5-4. This is my 5 to their 4. And if you're not able to recognize who that opponent is, that is Wayne. He has played me multiple times during the sessions. He loves to play against me because he just wants to be able to take me down. I've had him on the channel. I actually have a pool talk video where I interviewed him on my channel here, and it's always just fun to play against him here. So we're back at it again. So the question is going to be is Wayne going to take me down this time? Because I think the last time I reviewed a match with him, I think he won a rack and then broke and ran the next rack, and like he was out for blood. He wanted to get me on that match, but I still managed to take him down. So let's see how this is going to happen for tonight. For those that are new to my channel, the way this works is that I basically try to do a play-by-play commentary as to what happens. The only problem is I might not remember everything that actually happened, so there might be times where I might say, I think I put top right on it, and then we watch the cue ball, I was like, nope, that must have been top left or whatever. So there's going to be a lot of fumbling about that going on. I am going to try to commentate what I think my opponent is doing, as well as what I think my opponent should do versus what they do, and then also try to see if there's anything I could have done differently in retrospect. So what you should hopefully see here in the upper right corner is a cue ball diagram, and that little red dot, I can actually grab that red dot and move it around. So as I'm trying to remember what type of spins I'm putting on the cue ball, whether I tell you I put top spin, bottom spin, left spin, or right spin, or everywhere in between, this little red dot's going to be moving around to hopefully help everybody understand like the spin I'm putting on the cue ball, why I'm putting the spin on the cue ball, etc., etc. And then I have the ability to be able to draw on the video, so that way when I want to discuss a certain area as to try to lay out everything or what my plan is, like what ball I'm going to shoot where I expect the cue ball to go, etc., etc., you'll be able to see all that, and then we hopefully get to be able to put it all together and see how it ends up. You know, because not everything that I plan will go according to plan, because that's called me being human. Just like when you watch me play straight pool and you watch me actually struggle to get out of the first rack or whatever, this is no different, because now, except here, I have an opponent, which means I can play safeties. We get to see somebody else shoot. This is what makes this a whole lot of fun. All right, so we're going to start with the lag. Let's see who breaks first. You can see I hit that one like a baby. All right, so I got a rack. I'm going to speed the video up until Wayne breaks. It looks like he's gearing up. Here we go. All right. All right, so it looks like he's going to do a head-on break here. Direct center of the table here. I want to smack that head ball as firm as he can and see if he can get balls to drop. All right, let's see. Did he drop anything? It doesn't look like it since I'm coming to the table. So here's things that I can do. I eventually plan on making videos where I'm actually going to do what I'm talking about right here, because this is the kind of stuff that I basically teach all of my APA teammates as to what they should do whenever they come to the table. So like this is lesson time. So when I come to the table, every time I come to the table, the first thing I always try to do is establish where all of my balls are at on the table. But considering this is an open table, I have to assess the entire table, because I want to be able to decide whether or not if I want to choose solids or stripes. All right, so when we look at this, what set do y'all think would be the most difficult to be able to run out? Solids or stripes? You know, it's 50-50. When I look at this, we can see that there's this mess right here, whether you choose solids or stripes. That makes this a little difficult. The 5 and the 7 can't really go anywhere. The 13 might be able to pass by the 7. I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes the camera angle can't give me everything that I want to be able to see. But what is difficult to determine, at least for me at this point here, is if I were to choose solids, which it doesn't even look like I have a decent opening shot at solids, right? If I tried to back cut the one ball into the side pocket without double hitting the cue ball, that might be a little difficult. But even if I did do that, how am I going to free up the 5 and the 7? Right? There's not really a ball that I could use easily to be able to break up the 5 and the 7. Like I would have to maybe shoot the 3 into the side pocket like this. And the cue, that means like if the cue ball was where the 6 was at, I would have to shoot it and have the cue ball do something like this and try to spin over here to be able to break that stuff up. So not an easy thing to do. So by that alone, I probably think that I'm going to choose stripes. But that doesn't make this any easier, right? What am I going to do? And this ball is also in trouble. Now, as far as choosing stripes, I think the only shot that I may have as a starter is probably the 9 ball here into the corner pocket, but I honestly don't remember. So when it comes to the 15 and the 13, though, I have this 14 ball here. The 14 ball I can shoot here into the side pocket, and as long as I'm anywhere on this side of the shot line, then that means I can have my cue ball go into the 15 and 13 and break them open. So that's at least where stripes currently has an advantage. And I think beyond that, I don't really see any other issues. It'd be just a matter of, can I make sure that I can open the 15 up? The 10 ball is going to be a little bit of an issue, and then everything else looks fine to me. The 8 ball is would possibly go here into the side pocket, but only time's going to tell. That's usually what I'm doing before I even get down and shoot the first shot. I'm trying to figure it all out right then and there. And then, of course, while I'm shooting, that's when I'm going to figure out if plans are going to have to change. Like, does the cue ball end up where I need it to end up on the next shot, and so on and so forth. So, with all that being said, let's see what I do. So usually you'll see this, like I'm going to usually walk around the table a couple of times. I'm going to look around, see where things can go where. I don't just get down and just shoot an obvious shot. Right, like right there, I probably look to see if the 10 can pass by the 5 ball to go into the upper left-hand corner pocket. And the more I think about it, yeah, I guess I'm not starting with the 9 ball. I think I'm starting with the 13 ball. So the 13 ball probably does pass by the 7. So now that means I have to free up the 15 ball. So let's look at the cue ball and see what I'm doing here. It looks like it's a little bit of stun right. Cue ball comes 2 rails around back towards the middle of the table. Hit that a little hard. But you can see I have position here on the 9 ball, and I think this is the 11 ball here. So now, these are my only 2 problems right here, the 10 and the 15. And usually, when you have problems like this, you want to be able to try to solve them as soon as possible. So that way, hopefully, you can finish the rest of the table. Let's see here. Am I going to gently shoot the 11 ball in and try to stay flat on that 10 ball? So I can't tell if the 10 is going to pass by the 5 ball or not. I mean, heck, I can even possibly shoot the 14 into this corner and break open the 15. The only problem with making that decision now is, will I even have a shot on the 15 ball, and what shot would I have? So that's why you see me come down here for the 11 instead. This is a possibility to do this, but it doesn't really yield any good results. And that one there looked like that was done with a little bit of bottom right. That means I must be shooting the 9 ball next. So there's the position I'm looking for on the 14 ball, so that way I can hopefully be able to hit the 15 ball and break it open. And when you think about it, the only way to make that happen is the cue ball's probably got to do something like this, if I'm fortunate enough to do that. Same thing with a little bit of bottom right spin. Here we go. But I hit the wrong side of the 14 ball. So I think this is where my run comes to an end. Once I figure out that I cannot run the table, I have to stop taking balls off of the table. I want as many obstacles for my opponent, because now I'm going to attempt to play some sort of safety and allow my opponent to come to the table. And the safety I decided to do is to try to push that 15 ball up towards the short rail there like that. But you can see I don't hit a rail. So therefore my opponent has ball in hand. But not only that, the 5 ball now blocks the 10 ball. So even though I freed up my 15 ball and committed a foul, I still have to figure out what to do with my 10 ball in hopes that my opponent allows me to come back to the table. Because look at solids. There really isn't an issue with solids, right? He just has to have good cue ball control. So when we think about this, what ball would we start with? You can see he's going to start with the 5 ball. Is that what everybody else would start with? Or is there another route that everybody would take? So, because there's usually no right or wrong way to do this, but there are better ways to be able to run the table. And usually the best way to run the table is the one that requires the least amount of movement on the cue ball, because then that means you're in a whole lot of control, and there's just hardly any room for error to actually happen here. So if I had to look at this, I would have to think that my opponent's going to shoot the 5, then he's going to shoot the 7, and most likely the 8 is going to go into the corner pocket as well. But after the 5 and the 7, the 4 ball at least transitions the cue ball back down to deal with these easily. It's just a matter of which order is he going to peck them off, and what's going to be the last ball he's going to shoot at before he shoots the 8 ball. Let's find out. So we can't tell since he's off camera, but I'd be wondering if he's planning out his entire run out as well. Okay, see, he's got draw on the cue ball, so he's just probably just trying to move it over towards the middle of the table. Has position on the 7 and the 4 ball, but most likely will shoot the 7. And he's got an angle, so all he has to do is just allow the cue ball to go to the side rail. He could probably put a twist the left spin on this and come just underneath the foot spot and get position on the 4. That way he doesn't have to really do anything from the 4 ball. The 4 ball easily leads to the 1 ball. The 1 ball easily leads to the 2 ball. Like if I had to think about this, I'm looking at the 4 on the side, probably a stop shot, maybe a little bit of draw because it looks like he has an angle. The 1 in the bottom left, let the cue ball float forward a little bit. The 2 in the bottom right, let the cue ball float forward a little bit. 6 in the upper right, let the cue ball float forward. Do you see the theme here where like there's hardly any movement happening here? Because after the 6, you got the 3 in the side, roll forward a little bit, and the 8 in the corner. Let's see if he does it. Okay, here goes the 1. Is he going to roll forward for the 2? Now, just like that, but it looks like he rolled just a little too far. He might be okay, though. He might be able to throw this into the corner pocket a little bit. Put probably about a tip and a half worth of left spin on the cue ball. Otherwise, he needs to go ahead and just allow the cue ball to move. And what I mean by that is shoot the 2 here, have the cue ball come over here, and then spin over on this side of the 6 ball. Pretty much just like that. Except now this angle is a little steep. It's not that it's a big deal. I don't know. I probably would go ahead and just shoot the 3 ball and just draw back for the 6. That way I can just draw over here like this. Now this works out though. Yeah, but I still think I probably would have shot the 3 instead and then used the 6 to get to the 8 ball the way this looks. Because now I can't tell. Well, judging by that, he's probably going to do this. Shoot the 3 over here, and what? The cue ball naturally wants to do this. Is that what he's going to try to do? No, he just does the 1 rail. Gets a little friendly bump off of mine to stop the cue ball for the 8 ball. And my ball in hand foul allows Wayne to possibly clean up this table. Nicely done. That's pretty much that was a one inning rack because Wayne broke. I shot and eventually fouled to give him ball in hand, and then with ball in hand, he runs the table. And I distinctly remember saying to myself on after he did that, I was like, oh, he came to play. So now you're going to see a rather different side of me playing here because if you're used to seeing any of my other APA matches, I play rather aggressively most of the time. But now you're going to start seeing me play a little bit more conservatively, considering that my opponent only needs 3 more racks to win. All right, so this looks like it was a better break. What did he make? I see. Looks like he made solids, right? Because I see 4, 5, 6. There's 7 stripes, so he's solids. So instantly, let's go ahead and allow him to make that 5 ball and stop the video here. This is where you should be doing the same exact thing. When you come to the table, the first thing you should not be looking for is what ball are you going to shoot at. You should be looking at what are your issues on the table. So what issues do we see? I mean, he just shot the 5 ball, so clearly that wasn't an issue. This does not appear to be an issue because it goes here into the bottom right corner pocket. These two don't appear to be issues because they have pockets here, and this ball can also go here. We have an issue here with the 3 ball, and we have an issue here with the 2 ball. All right, so at any skill level, you pretty much have to just ask yourself, can you run this out? And if the answer is no, then chances are you probably should not be making these balls because all you're doing is making the table easier for your opponent because they're going to have less obstacles to deal with. All right, so when I look at this table here, actually we have to backtrack and go back to this shot here. Because that 5 ball probably could have been a very, very important shot. Could have been. That's why I wanted to go back and look at it. Because with the 5 ball, and he ended up over here, so that tells me he's going to shoot the 4 ball. And so after the 4 ball's gone, I have to start wondering, what is he going to do with the 3 and the 2? Or my opponent should be thinking about, what are they going to do with the 3 and the 2? Right? Because if they don't have a plan, that means I'm coming to the table. And if I'm in a position where I have a lot of balls left on the table and my opponent doesn't have any, yeah, you're about to see me play a whole lot of safeties until I'm basically going to play chess with the table until the table is set up for me to be able to attack it. And then hopefully I don't miss when I attack, and then I'm going to try to run the table. So really, this 5 ball is actually pretty important. If I were to try to run this table here, I would probably end up trying to shoot the 5 ball and open this up at the same time. Because you saw that when he shot it, his cue ball did something like this and landed over here. So really, he probably wanted his cue ball to do something like this if he could help it and come move this stuff open. Maybe it would have gotten worse. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. But if he does happen to improve it, the 7 ball and the 4 ball become backup shots, whether something goes right or whether something goes wrong. But there's got to be an effort to try to figure this out here. Otherwise, there's just got to be an effort to where you got to surrender the table because you're going to play some sort of safety, right? Send a ball near a pocket to try to kind of block the pocket, maybe. Just something that's going to make it more difficult for me when I come back to the table. Because otherwise, when he plays this 5 ball, he needs to play the 5 ball in such a way to where when he gets position on another ball, like the 4 ball, if he wanted to get position on the 4 ball, he probably should have made sure that the cue ball would have done something like this, hit the rail and come behind the 7 and land right here. So that way he can use the 4 ball like this and break this stuff open. Because see right here, if you look at what he's doing, you have to ask yourself, how is he going to free up his 3 and his 2? What is he going to do? He might be able to bank the 2. I can't tell how much my 15's in the way. I mean, it looks like it's in the way a lot. So when I'm sitting down watching my opponent, I'm pretty much seeing when I think I'm going to come back to the table. Because like even for me, like if I'm at the table, what am I going to do here? So chances are I'm not going to make this 7 ball. I'm going to maybe try to block the pocket or something. Yeah, kind of like that. But he looked like he was trying to make it. So now I'm going to come to the table and look what I have to deal with. I have a mess to deal with. How am I going to break out my 12 ball? The 11 ball here is okay. I don't have an issue there. Here's an issue, and then everything else looks fine. All right, so I do the same thing that I talked about on the previous rack. right? I try to assess the entire table and figure out what am I going to do? Am I going to try to attack, or am I going to make a couple of balls and play safe? It looks like I'm going to start with the 14. Does that mean I'm shooting the 15 next? Have to have been, because that was just a top spin shot. Now, we look at the angle that I have on the 15, so I'm only going to be curious if I'm going to try to either do this or try to go straight into them, one or the other. And it looks like maybe I've lowered how high I'm hitting on the cue ball, and I'm going to the short rail, and I didn't really improve the situation. I kind of made it worse, right? So watch what I end up doing. I now know I can't run the table, so what do? I play a safety, and I play a lockup safety at that. The only problem with the safety that I also played is I made the cluster that I have worse. If I can help it, I want to try to be able to bump my balls out in the open as well as contain the cue ball at the same time. But let's see what happens here. Let's see if Wayne's able to kick out of my safety. Oh, what a good hit. But my opponent ends up scratching. Max McHugh, you're saying that you live in Springfield, Missouri, and pool is dying except for APA leagues, but you have no interest in playing in bars. What do you do? I mean, unless you're going to move, right? You gotta take what you have, right? And I seriously doubt moving is an option. Just so that you can play pool. I mean, you might as well just kind of bite the bullet and and join an APA league and then just go from there, because that way you're at least playing. Unless of course you're gonna buy a table for the house, like that could certainly be an option. But now, back to the match. So you saw that my Wayne made a good kick, but he scratched. And what did I do? I play another safety to where I opened the table up and contain the cue ball again. And Wayne tries to do another kick shot and scratches again. So now I have ball in hand again. So the question is going to be here is, can I attack the table? Look at what I have to deal with here, right? And I have to be able to free up the 8 ball as well. I got my 12 ball, my 11 ball, and the 8 ball that I got to be able to break open. So what am I going to do? Am I going to play another safety? Looks like it. No, maybe not. Yeah, check to see if I could shoot the 12 into the side pocket without double hitting the cue ball. I would never risk that. Yeah, so this must be another safety. It looks like I'm going to combo my 11 into the 12, and it looks like my objective would be to move the 2 ball out of the way. And then I'm going to contain the cue ball behind the behind the 8 ball. So that was just a little bit of a stun shot there, but the 2 ball caught the point of the side pocket and then just stuck where it was at. The 2 ball is supposed to be like right here somewhere. So that didn't really help. Adam Noonan, do you think opponents are put off by the camera? You just saw him look at it after he scratched. I haven't. Usually, if something, what do y'all think of that kick shot there? Like, that was 3 kick shots that he had to take, and third one was finally the charm, and he finally nailed it. But to answer your question, Adam, people see the camera, and if they have an issue with the camera, they will come and tell me, because usually I'm recording my teammates as well, because I review their matches and try to give them advice, as well as record my own match so that I can hopefully publish it on YouTube or do something with it. But if the opponent does not want to be filmed, then I oblige their request and I don't film them, whether it's my opponent or whether it's my teammates' opponents, because everybody is well aware that even for my teammates, those videos don't touch the web. right? They're strictly for my teammates, so that way they can get the advice that I want to give them to hopefully help them improve their games. Sometimes the opponents will ask me for a copy and ask me if I have the time to be able to review their matches. So I can't really say they're aware of it, and unless if they do have an issue, then they'll usually tell me if they have an issue, and then we deal with it. All right, so my opponent kicked that 6 ball in and then missed that 7, and now I got to figure out what to do. And again, look, I can't run the table, right? So since I can't run the table, I'm not going to try. Now, I don't know. Do I want to try cutting the 13 ball into the corner pocket here and then try to break this open? It doesn't look like it since I'm going to be shooting straight at it. Let's see what I do. Yeah, doesn't really do much. If I move the 10 ball out of the way, the 12 ball will at least go. And I've also contained Wayne's 2 ball. So like right now, I kind of have control of the table. If Wayne shoots this 3 into the side, because I really wanted my cue ball to be right here behind the 8 again, he's going to have to break out this 2 ball. Looks like that's what he's trying to do. And he's successful, but he doesn't make the ball. So I think here, this position here allows me to attack the table. Because if he would have made that ball, actually, I don't know. I don't know if he can shoot the 2 ball all the way down. I don't know if my 11 blocks it. It doesn't look like he can cut it in the side. You can see me right there. I'm looking to see, can I shoot the 11 into the side? And I can't. So that's why you see me gesture that I'm going to have to play it off the 2 to go into the side pocket. But I don't like that I have to back cut the 11 into the 2 to have it back cut back over, or back cut carom over to the side pocket. So I shoot this 10 ball first to make my angle a little bit flatter, so that way I can hit the 11 ball more straight rather than cutting it. So here we should just be able to see that I'm going to shoot the 11 ball into Wayne's 2 and have it go into the side pocket. And now I pretty much have an open table, so as long as I don't mess up, I should be okay. And I would have to think that I'm going to shoot the 13 ball, possibly with some low right spin. Cue ball is going to come over to the side rail and then spin back towards the middle of the table for a shot at the 9. Kind of like that. And then here, I would just end up trying to just draw the cue ball back a little bit so I can be as straight as I can be on the 8 ball for the upper left corner pocket. So, and this should allow me to take this rack down. John Jones, I don't have to get them to sign a release form? No. Because we are in public, I don't even have to ask for their permission. I'm just polite enough, and I do ask for their permission. And if they don't want to be on YouTube, then I don't put them on YouTube. I'm a nice guy. All right, 1-1. Let's check out my break. I'm still doing a flat break from this angle, meaning that I'm trying to send the cue ball straight into the head ball with a little bit of topspin, so that way I can try to squat the cue ball near the center of the table. You can see the cue ball kind of pops off of the rack, but since the cue ball also drifts off to my right, that means I'm not hitting that head ball as square as I possibly can. Plus, I didn't even make a ball. And there comes a point to where I get tired of not making a ball, doing a flat break like that from an angle. So I eventually started doing my classic break again, where I do a cut break from the same angle, because I'll be trying to get the head ball to go towards the side pocket. But I don't remember if I did it during this session or during this match here. I think I just did all flat breaks. But I think later on in the session I started doing cut breaks after that. And I know during this coming session that I'll be playing in, I will be doing cut breaks again. All right, let's see. What are we going to do here, Wayne? Draws the cue ball back there. He's got position on the 11. Or do you attempt to shoot the 9, or do you use the 11 and get better position on the 9 to be able to shoot the 9 here into the side pocket? And then what are you going to do here? And what are we going to do here? Looks like we're going to try to deal with that now, maybe? Adam, you're asking if there's any reason to choose to have the camera at the end of the table here. Traditionally, the TV cameras are above the table. Well, there's a light, and you can see there's a spectator there. There is a table light above the table, and so I can't have the camera actually above the table. So I'll either have it at one end or the other. Sometimes it'll be on the racking end. Sometimes it'll be on the breaking end. And I have the camera pretty darn high up, so that way I can try to angle it down and into the table, so that way we can get the full layout of the table. I think there's only a couple of times where I actually have to do a side view because that's all that I have access to. All right, so now I'm back at the table, and again, all we do is just rinse and repeat the process. Check out the entire layout of the table. Are there any issues? We can see that this ball is kind of an issue. These look okay here, so really, there isn't an issue except for this guy. If I can make this guy, which you can see, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to cut him into the corner pocket. Avoid hitting the points of the pocket if I can. Let's watch the cue ball to see what kind of spin I put on it. That looks like that was some right spin on the cue ball, and I end up breaking up the 3 ball and the 6 ball, but didn't really leave myself good position. So now I just got to make sure that does this 4 ball pass by the 9 ball or not. Looks like the 5 ball is going to go in next, probably with some left spin on the cue ball. Comes over here for the 3 maybe. Nope, looks like I'm going to shoot the 4. And if I'm shooting the 4, that means I got to be shooting at the 1 next. So I'm probably just going to let the cue ball roll. Just like that, little bump on the 9 ball. And so since I'm down here, I might as well go ahead and finish this section of the table, right? So I have to be shooting the 1 ball. There's no reason for me to come back up table only to have to come back down table again to shoot the 8 ball and then return back up table. This is the strategy where you basically try to deal with the table in sections, right? Because once I make this 1 ball, looks like with some, that's just top spin. Now, there is no reason for my cue ball to be at this end of the table, right? All I have to do is just maintain position up here. So when I look at this, it looks like I can play the 6 ball into the top right, probably hit this with a little bit of stun. It looks like I actually have draw on it. It looks like I'm drawing it. Oh, never mind. I want to get position on the 7 ball. I thought I was going to get position on the 3. So that was actually with some draw right spin. And you saw I hit that pretty hard just to make sure that the cue ball gets over to the other side of the table. And then here, this should be with some top spin and a little bit of right spin, so I can make sure that I hit the short rail and then come back towards the right side rail to get position on the 3. Kind of like that. And then most likely with some bottom right spin, pull the cue ball back towards the middle of the table so that way I can shoot the 8 ball into the upper left corner pocket. Couldn't have asked for anything better than that. Most likely just a stop shot, right? Because why move the cue ball when I don't have to? And I take the lead now, 2-1. Let's move on to the next rack. Oh, this is, again, a little bit of top spin because, like I said, watch the cue ball pop off of the rack. You see me? Like, not making a ball. All right. So Wayne comes to the table. probably has to claim solids with the 4-ball. This looks like a hard rack regardless. Okay, he claims solids with the 4-ball, and immediately I'm already starting to wonder about the 6-ball and the 1-ball. The 6-ball at the very least can be shot into the upper right corner pocket after he moves the 5-ball. He would just have to use the 3 to go into the bottom left, possibly to get position underneath the 6 to go into the upper right. But after that, what do you do with the 1-ball? Do you bank the 1-ball? Maybe. I think he was trying to get position on the 2-ball. I don't know if you consider that an underhit or an overhit. Like, did he want to touch the 8-ball, or did he want to just like land in between the 8-ball and the 9-ball and have that shot at the 2? It's hard to tell. But it looks like he's hooked behind the 8 to where he can't see the 2. So now he has to come down here for the 6 and the 1. That was an interesting measurement. If he pointed like this, yeah, you can see where he's pointing here. He's going to try to combo cross bank the 1-ball, and he has to hope that the 6-ball doesn't get in the way when he does this. This is a super aggressive shot here. I believe that's what he measured up. Yeah, that's what he's measuring. He wants to combo the 6 into the 1 and have it cut cross bank over here to the bottom left corner pocket. He ends up overcutting it, but he at least frees them up. But not only does he do that, he frees up a lot of stuff that was over here. My only issue is going to be my 10-ball. So let's see what I do here. Blasted Puff, you're saying a Chris Smelling moment? Go check out our last match that I did with Wayne on the live stream. And one of his outs, like, if I remember correctly, he either banked the last 2 balls in, or like the out that he did was amazing. And then if I remember correctly, he broke and ran the next rack right after that. All right, so I don't really see anything that I wanted to aggressively attack. So that's why you see me play a defensive shot here, because primarily I just don't know what to do with my 10-ball. Even right now, looking at this in retrospect, I'm not entirely sure. Because it also looks like the 8-ball is blocking these 2 from going here into the top left corner pocket. Wayne tries to play the 1-ball into the side and just barely overcuts it, comes off of the point and doesn't bobble its way in. What am I doing here? I'm looking at that 9-ball. If I look at the 9-ball, this gives me maybe an opportunity to free up my 10. If I do this, you can see how hard I'm looking at it. What else would I be inclined to do? John Jones, you want to bank the 10 cross side? That's a possibility as long as I get the correct angle. Like my cue ball would have to be somewhere like right around here. That way I can kind of do a back bank. That's certainly an option. So I would have to think my hesitation comes from that if I screw this up, meaning that I don't get the breakout, then how am I going to play safe where I don't give a good chance for my for Wayne to be able to run this out? Am I going for it anyway? A little bit of left spin. I missed the shot. Well, the 10 ball is freed now. So had I made it, it looks like I have position on this 15 ball, and the 10 ball now goes into the upper left corner pocket. So that probably would have worked out had I not missed. This is a combo. Oh, never mind. Not a combo. And then of course, now my 13 is tied up. All right, so the 10 ball is okay now. 10 ball just cuts into the top left corner pocket, but what the heck do I do with the 13 ball? And it looks like the 15 ball might be in trouble. Let's see, what am I doing here? What is that? That looks like a boatload of top left spin. What am I doing with the cue ball? Oh, I killed the angle to come back. Did I come back for the 14 ball? I had to have. Let's see here. That probably makes me think that there's not an angle I can get on the 10 to where I can shoot the 10 and then try to get the cue ball to come over here and break the 13 apart. That's probably what you saw my frustration was there. So it looks like I'm just doing a rolling cue ball here for the 14. I have to be getting position for the 10. Right, and so, yeah, so from that angle there, there's no way I'm breaking out the 13 ball. So what am I doing there? Am I going to use the 15 ball to carom off the 6? That'll hopefully open up the 13. Because I must be in attack mode here. Let's see, that looks like a little bit of stun left. I got to be coming out for the 15. Oh, never mind. Well, it still worked out. See, all the while, this is what's I know this has to be going through my head. What am I going to do here? I have to figure this out. Otherwise, I need to stop shooting balls in. So I must have a plan for it. I have to have a plan for it if I'm going to shoot this 9 ball in. Okay, that was just with a little bit of top left. And yeah, what I said earlier, it looks like, yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do. It looks like I'm going to try to shoot the 15 into the 6 and have it carom over into the corner pocket. That should hopefully allow the 6 to bump into the 2, and then that'll open up, I think, the 13 ball. Let's see. It looks like I have a center ball hit there. Oh, and I just hit that way too flat. Never mind. So now, I mean, the camera angle doesn't tell us anything. Like, what kind of an issue does Wayne have up here? Does the 2 freely go by the 6? Because if it does, Wayne's in a good position here. Shoot the 1 into the side, kind of just drift down for the 3. Shoot the 3 into the side, kind of just roll forward for the 7. Shoot the 7 in, roll forward to where you're not hooked behind the 13 ball. You're probably going to want some sort of an angle, so that way you can hit the 2 into the corner, and then have the cue ball bump into the 13 ball, so that way you can shoot the 6 next. But that's all depending upon what this really looks like over here, which I'm not entirely sure. Kind of like this. So as long as my 15 doesn't block the 6 ball enough, you'd want to shoot the 2, bump into the 13, and have a shot at the 6. Kind of like this. And then here, put a boatload of right spin on the cue ball. Kind of like that. Nicely done. And a little ghost ball referencing there. Oh, and he overcut the ball. Oh, no. Oh, no. Overcut the ball. Now, at least to his defense, that 8 ball perfectly blocks my 15 ball. What am I gonna do here? Ooh, let's see here. Do I want to risk cutting my 11 ball behind the 8? And even still, what do I do with my 15 ball? Or do I play a safety and kind of do a half ball hit on the 11 so that way they kind of just separate and the 11 and the 15 will block the 8 ball? Speak of the devil! Look who's in the chat. Say hello to Wayne, everybody. Oh, I went for it. Yeah, now what? Hey, that measurement can only mean that I'm going to try to get the 13 ball to wrap around the 8 ball. I'm going to cut it over to the side rail, have it bank off the side rail, and try to get on the other side of the 8 ball to play a defensive shot. Ooh, okay, never mind. Since I allowed the 15 ball to guard the 8 ball, but you can see if Wayne can just one rail kick this, he should be okay. Because now with my 13 ball being there, it kind of helps. The only thing he has to hope doesn't happen is that he hits my 13 ball. How did that not go? I'm sorry, Wayne. We got to look at this again. How did that not go? Did the 8 ball catch the rail? You kick right into it, and you hit the point. You kicked it right into the point. That's the only way it bobbles the way that it did. You kicked it right into the point. Probably the only spot you could have hit the 8 ball and it not go in. If you'd have hit it anywhere else, it probably would have went in. Anywhere else except for where you hit it. Well, there's no point in me making this 15 ball now, is there? I think all I do is just roll the cue ball down a little bit so that way he can't see it, right? He has to hit it hopefully in such a way to where it gets out of the way of my 13 ball. Marks the pocket just in case. Just in case something happens and it falls. But see, this is pretty much what I would be betting on. Is to hopefully that he does something that causes the 8-ball to get out of the way. Because otherwise, he needed to kick at the short rail, hit the 8-ball from behind, and hopefully hide the cue ball behind the 8-ball as well. Now here, this should be just some top right spin. And I believe I do bottom left on this one. That way I can shoot them both in the same corner. Just like that. And probably just, it looks like there's a little bit of an angle, so we just stun the cue ball over to the short rail. Always make sure that the cue ball is not going to scratch. Okay, I have the lead still, 3-1. Let's watch my pop break again. You can see now I've moved the cue ball more towards the middle of the table instead of being one diamond over from the center. Look at that cue ball squat. Did you see me raise my hands? That like, is a ball gonna drop? It doesn't matter if you can squat the cue ball near the middle of the table if a ball doesn't drop. That's what? That's 3 dry breaks. Okay, Wayne's gonna claim stripes. So let's look at the table, right? Is stripes runnable? This looks like the only issue. I mean, maybe the 10 goes over here. If he would have made the 13 in the side, he would have broke this open. So maybe stripes was runnable at that point. Now, is solids runnable? What am I shooting at? Looks like I have a rolling cue ball. Am I shooting at the 7? Shooting at the 7, get automatic position for the 3. Four balls in a little bit of a tricky spot. It can only go here, which means I probably have to use the 1 and the 2. 1 and or the 2. 1 or the 2. Why do I say and or? 1 or the 2 to get position on the 4. From here, I think I have to just go from the 3 to the 6. And then what am I going to do for that 5 ball? This probably looks like top right spin. Okay, that allows me to get on this side of the 5 ball. Or I can shoot the 4. I'm actually in a good position to deal with the 4. I would think now this is where I want to be able to shoot the 4. Draw back a little bit for the 5. Or maybe not, because now that I think about it, going from the 4 or the 5, how do I get to the 1 and the 2? Okay, looks like I am. No, maybe not. Okay, I do decide to play the 4. Try to draw the cue ball back for position on the 5, maybe. Go on the side. Ugh. Did I do that on purpose? Because now that means my cue ball is going to do this. If I did this on purpose, all right, this has to be with a little bit of low right spin. Just like that. And I probably hit that way too hard. Yep. I probably actually wanted to run into them at the pace that I hit. So I probably actually wanted the cue ball to do something like this. Hit further down or closer to this side pocket and spin into them. So I think here I try to play a combo because the 1 ball does not pass the 2 ball. So I think I try to cut the 1 ball into the 2 ball. Yep, and I ended up overcutting the 1 ball. All right, Wayne, right here, you got to try to punish me here. So actually, let's talk about this area. All right, what kind of pattern does everybody see? Like what's a decent run out pattern? And usually when you think about like how do you want to run this out, it's usually a good idea to plan your run out backwards, meaning what ball do you want to be the last ball to shoot to get position for the 8 ball, and then kind of build your run from there. Because when we look at this layout, it looks like Wayne at least has 2 options. It looks like he can start with the 11 or he can start with the 9. The question is always going to be is what's the next ball after that? Right? So if I were to look at this, I don't know. I see a multitude of things that could be done here. But I probably would end up starting with the 11. I think my objective would be is to get to this 12 as soon as possible. And then that way, when I move from the 12 back down, then I try to keep my cue ball movement small. So when I look at this, I think that if I just roll the 11 into the side pocket, cue ball just kind of just drifts up this way, gets me position on the 12 like I want. And then from the 12, I can play position for either the 10 in the side, and then just kind of like crawl my way down until I eventually get to the 8 ball. Like that's at least what I'm looking at right now. Now what if I take the 10 from here, what do I do? If I did this, shot the 10, I probably would get a small angle on the 15 ball, so that way I can shoot the 13 next in the side. That means my 9 ball ended up being last. This is probably not the best of patterns here. Because even though I can shoot the 9 in and get position on the 8, this is probably not the best way to do it. I don't particularly like starting with the 9 ball because the amount of control that you have to put in order to get position on another ball. Now you can get position on another ball. I mean, that's not the issue. It's just the amount of control that you have to put on the ball. So Jeremy Montemary, you're saying going from the 11 to the 13. I cannot tell from this camera angle if after shooting the 11 if you can hit it soft enough to maintain position on the 13 ball. So Wayne does decide to start with the 9 ball. Bumps into my 1 ball and doesn't really give him any decent shot except for the 13 ball. Now the question is going to be is does he want to shoot it into the side pocket or does he want to shoot it into the upper right corner pocket? Otherwise, play a safety. Whoops. So what happened there? Let's back up to here. So he shot the 11 ball straight. Were you trying to play the combo or were you trying to play a safety? But when the 11 ball came back, did it knock the cue ball into an opening? Because playing a safety here was not a bad option. There are options where you could try to run out as well, but playing a safety was probably a good option here as well. You got a lot of balls that you can hide around. Yeah, you shoot the 11 ball up. The 11 ball comes back, and so the cue ball was behind the 8 ball, and then the 11 ball bumped it back out into the open. Man, that's unfortunate. So like in my opinion, that's a good play to make. You just had an unfortunate event there, because playing a safety is no different than playing a shot. Right? When you're playing a shot, what you don't want to happen is you don't want to miss. And then, of course, when you're playing a defensive shot, you don't want the cue ball to be out in the open. And you're risking the same thing here. So that looked like the inside three railer to get position on the one. Now I have to be putting some high left spin on this because I think I want the cue ball to come back over here. Oh, but the cue ball dies on me. Look at that. Yeah, the cue ball is supposed to keep coming right over here so that way I can shoot the 8 ball into this corner pocket here, but I just did not hit the cue ball hard enough. Did not hit the cue ball hard enough at all. Now I'm forced to kick at the 8. Cue ball control, sometimes you have a plan until your cue ball control deserts you. Now I think with the way that I'm measuring this up here, I think the 13 ball is kind of in the way of the natural path. And so I actually have to kick slightly out of the natural path and use a little bit of spin to pull the ball back. And that's why you see me miss the ball altogether, because since I'm kicking to my left, I try to put a touch of right spin to pull the ball back. Because if I were to just do a natural this angle in, that angle out kick, I probably would have clipped the 13 ball. So I got to make sure that the angle coming out is definitely enough to avoid hitting the 13 ball, but then kill the angle at the same time to make sure that I at least make contact with the 8. And clearly I did not even do that correctly. All right, everybody, what do you do here? There is no issue on the table. You just have to execute. How would y'all execute? I see a couple of ways of doing this. Let's see. Hector, you're saying 11, 15, 9, 12, and 10. All right, so the 11 ball is right here. That makes me think that you're shooting the 11 ball here. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can place the cue ball right here next to the 8 ball. No big deal. You can either draw back or play a stop shot. It does not matter. This is the 13 ball when you said 9, so that's fine. This right here is the 13 ball. So you said 15 next. I have to believe that you're talking about a stop shot. 13 here in the side. Kind of roll forward a little bit. Play the 12. Have the cue ball do this. That way you play the 10, and then the 8 goes into the side pocket. I'm thinking something like this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that your pattern? Because it's a pattern that works. I'm only curious, is there an easier pattern? You basically almost did like a circle. A full circle. And it was a good pattern because actually because I think the only part that required control was the 12 ball. Unless you're going to shoot, never mind. Unless you rolled forward, got positioned on the 12, played a stop shot, and played the 10 down here with the stop shot, let the cube. Yeah. So actually, never mind. That's probably the best route because there's no side spin. It's just all either stopping the cue ball or stop shot on the 11, stop shot here, roll forward to try to get fairly flat on the 12, and either stop shot or roll forward to the short rail and come back out for the 10. Shoot the 10 in the corner, roll forward, and then put the 8 into the side pocket. That's actually a really good pattern. Let's see here. Cue ball control sometimes. 15, 13, 10, 11, 12. So that means... what are you doing with that one? 15 goes here. So that means you play a stop shot. Are you rolling forward like this for the 10 ball? Because if you do that, are you going to softly play the 10 ball here so that way the cue ball does this? Play the 12 here, roll forward for the 12, and then you kind of have to move the 12 ball to get position on the 8 for any corner pocket, but this is a pattern that works. Let's see, Jeremy Montemeyer, you're saying 10, 11, 12, 15, 13, 8. So here's the 10. 11's right here. Okay, cue ball, you say 13 roll forward, so that means the 10 goes in the side. So I hope I guessed what the rest of the pattern was going to be. Because I don't think you can play position from the 10 to the 11 and play the 11 here in the corner. The 11's got to go here into the side, I would think. Unless you're going to push far forward enough to play the 11 ball into the same side pocket as the 10 ball. But Jeremy, you're saying 10, 11, 12, 15, 13, 8. What does that mean? 10... 10, 11, 12. Does that mean cue ball goes here? 10, roll forward to here. 11, roll forward to here. 12, top spin, down to here. 13, 8. You see how all this stuff works? Like there's nothing wrong with any of these. The only thing that makes these more difficult for either you or myself is everybody's skill level, right? And so what we try to do is we try to find the best pattern that hopefully everybody would have the highest possibility of being able to execute. Let's see. Let's look at one more. So Tim Crumley, and then we're going to see what Wayne did. Tim, you're saying 13, 15, 10, 11, 12, 8. See, so I think you're the second person that said leaving the you're the second person that says leave the 12 for last. And that's going to require movement on the from the 12 to get to the 8. I think the other patterns where the 10 ball was last or the 13 was last are good because the 8 ball is right here and doesn't require really any movement, so that way you can shoot them in either of the side pockets. So personally, I like those patterns better where you're ending with the 10 or you're ending with the 13 ball. But let's look at yours. So you're saying 13, 15. So to play the... I cannot tell if the 13 goes here. I can't tell if the 8 is in the way. But let's say the 8 is not in the way. Then I'm assuming that you would do this. And you would roll forward, so that way you can play the 15. 10 and the 11. So you don't want to be straight in, because that means you have to bridge over the 10. So you definitely want some sort of a cut angle. That means your cue ball has to do this. That way you can play your stop shot, play the 11 over here, and then play your 12 and get whatever position you want on the 8, whether you're going to do this to get on the 8 or whether you're going to do, like, it doesn't matter. Is that what you were referring to, Tim? Because again, these are all options that work. All we're trying to do is basically determine the level of difficulty it would take to be able to execute them, and you basically determine that by how much cue ball movement that you would have to do. Let's see what Wayne decides to do. Wayne likes the 15 first. So is he going to get position for the 13 or the 10? Got to be the 13. So this looks like it's following cue ball control's sometimes pattern. Roll forward from the 13 to get position on the 10. That might be a little too flat, meaning that you might have to put a touch of left spin if you want to be able to shoot the 11 in the corner. Or is he going to come around and shoot the 11 in the same side pocket? Yeah, you hit that a little too hard there, bud. because then the 11 would go into the side, and then that way you get position on the 12 here. How many of y'all would play a safety here? All right, shoot the 12 into the rail. Try to put the cue ball behind the not put the cue ball directly behind the 11, but make sure that the 11's in the way. Or how many of y'all would go for this? Right, because you have to shoot the 11, I think, into the side pocket. That means the cue ball is probably going to drift over, maybe clip the 8. Because if it doesn't clip the 8, you might be in trouble. Oh, and he just bobbled the ball. Oh, that is a heartbreaker. Look at the position he's got on the 12. He had it. He just bobbled the 11 ball. How do y'all like my little minion marker just sitting there pointing at the pocket like this is where it's going? All right, that puts me on the hill. So Wayne, these are some of the things that you got to think about. You see, like lots of people just give all these different inputs, and it looks like you were adhering to one of them. Like I said, I do believe it was cue ball control sometimes pattern that you were pretty much getting ready to follow. But like I said, sometimes you just got to make sure that if you, especially since you have ball in hand, right? Just if you can minimize that cue ball movement, that's what's going to allow you to be the most successful. Now, it doesn't matter what pattern we picked. We could play devil's advocate on every single solitary one of those patterns, right? Because you would just simply say, well, what if you hit too hard? What if you hit too soft? Right? Like I get that, right? But that's why we say like you determine the level of difficulty of the run out pattern, which is going to be based on the cue ball movement as you transition from one ball to the next. And the least amount of movement should have the highest success rate. Because anytime there's movement, that means there's got to be precision that has to occur as you precisely try to go from one spot to the next. And if you don't precisely hit what you want, you have some leeway usually. That's what the cut angles are for. But once you get out of line, you have to work to get back in line. And so the less movement that you have to make, the easier it is to stay in line, therefore allowing you to be able to hopefully run out the pattern. All right, I am on the hill. That means it's 8-ball break attempt time. Oh, the 8-ball's moving. Did I make a ball? I made a ball! I finally made a ball. 5 breaks. And I finally make a ball on the 5th break. What did I make? I made a stripe, didn't I? It was in the upper left-hand corner pocket. Let's see here. Like I got some topspin on that shot there. Okay, does that mean I was getting position for the 10? I hope the 9-ball passes by the 4-ball. I can't really tell. 10 goes in the side pocket, roll forward. Ooh, did I clip that 7? Did that 7 move? It did. It had to have. I just saw it jump when I rewound. Yeah, it looks like I clipped the 7. I don't know if that. Yeah, I guess the 7 probably made it miss. I like that shot. Here's where you have an opportunity to, well, do you need, I was going to say here you have an opportunity to break out your 4, but do you need to? But it doesn't look like you're trying. Okay, so like that's another thing. So like I say this stuff all the time. Like this is an okay shot to take. I didn't really have an issue with that. But the issues that we have still on the table are this right here and this right here. And this ball grants you an opportunity to possibly improve this ball, right? So if you can play this ball into the corner pocket, you want your cue ball to do this. Just nudge it out into the open. if you don't have a shot at it, fine. Your cue ball is going to be somewhere over here. So what can you shoot at? You end up shooting the 1 ball. And at least your 4 ball isn't going to be an issue. But now the real problem still ends up being, what about up here? Like, is this window here big enough to where you can hopefully see through and hit the 6 to go into the corner? Because after you make the 6, the 5 will go, but then how do you land back in this window to be able to shoot the 5? This is your biggest trouble spot, in my opinion. Let's go back to the previous shot, and could we have dealt with it? It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it at all. Because it doesn't even look like you can get here from the 2. Like, you can't shoot the 2 in and then get position, or even break out the 5 and the 6. So, like, this is what I would be very, very concerned about. Almost to the point to where it's like, after you made the 7, I don't know, I probably would have played safe with the 3 ball. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here, either the 7, or why did I say the 7? Either the 1 ball or the 3 ball. Send them towards a pocket and then leave the cue ball down table. Like, I don't think I would have made that ball. Right? Because if you think about this, if you would have just shot straight at this ball and just done something like this, make the 3 ball park right here. I don't know. Whatever, right? But allow your cue ball to come down here as well. I can hit my 9, but I don't think I can make it. And I cannot tell if the 6 ball blocks the 12. But let's say it does. Because what do I do? Right? The only thing I could do is I will either help your 4 ball, or I'm going to try to do something with this. Because those are they're the only 2 balls that I can see. And either one of them help you out. Right? Because if I move the 9, your 4 balls helped out. If I move this ball here, your 5 and your 6 are helped out. That's probably why at least I would have elected to not make a ball. So if you want to leave the 3 ball here, maybe you can do the same thing with the 1. Kind of cut the 1 to where it does something like this, and then put the cue ball down here. Use your 3 ball as a blocker. Make me do something that's going to favor you, especially if you wanted to leave the cue ball like right here. Right? I can see my 9, but I can't see my 12. So I have to move my 9 ball. And by having to move my 9 ball, I automatically free up your 4 ball. Automatically. Because it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to run the table if this is what you're going to give me from here on out. So that's probably what I would have been looking at here, considering that it doesn't look like there's a way to solve this 5 and 6. And remember, the more balls you end up taking off the table, the easier you're going to make it for me or any opponent to be able to clear the table when they come to the table. All right, so let's see what you do after this. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's in fearless mode. He's in effort mode. Let's go. Let's go. He just wants to clear it from here. Stun over into that 5 and 6. Almost. you end up getting hooked instead. Oh my goodness. Dang. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. But, here lies the downfall of being that aggressive. Make a legal hit at least. There we go. Okay. Now, I don't think, just by looking at this, I don't think I can clear the table. Let's see here. My obvious shot is the 14 ball. Probably a touch of right spin with that top spin that I have on there. Whoa, I don't need to make the red dot any bigger. Now, what am I going to do here? Do I have to play a combo? What is that? What am I doing? That looks like top left. Oh, give me a shot at least. Okay. So that definitely was top left. What am I doing here? I would have to think I'm drawing the cue ball. How did I miss? I'm blocking the camera. How did I miss? I, I must have shot the 13 ball straight into the rail or something. How did I miss that? Oh my gosh. How did I miss that? And look, I have the angle. I could shoot that ball in. Cue ball automatically runs into the fourth. How did I miss the 13th ball? I wish I wasn't in the way. Or if I had the camera on the other side. So I could see how did I miss that ball. I had to have possibly caused it to hit the rail here and then just kind of bobble its way back out. Like that's the only way it could do that. Because if I overcut the ball, then that means the 13 ball would drift this way. So I must have hit the side rail. I had to have hit the side rail for it to do that. All right, so Wayne, how do you deal with your four ball? What are we looking at? My wrist twisted? Hold on. Let's go back and look at that then. Oh, look at that! Look at that garbage. So that probably could have been the cause. That certainly probably could have been the cause. I'll give it to you, Danks 9000. That definitely was a sloppy stroke since my wrist curled in and I kind of went out. But I mean, I'm also like kind of bent over the table a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I'm making up excuses now. What are we doing here? Oh, you see that? Did y'all see what this man tried to do? Like I said, this is F it mode right here. What is he trying to do? He's trying to bank his ball off my 14 to go into the side pocket, and that frees up his 4 ball. He would have had a shot to try to draw back for the 5 ball and be able to hopefully take this rack. That was a really... I like that shot, Wayne. That was a really creative shot. I like it. What the heck do I do? This is the only ball that I could see. The 5 ball is, I think, is in the way for the for me to be able to get the cue ball to go 1, 2, 3 and come down here. So you can see it looks like I'm loading up with looks like I'm gonna try to load up with some bottom left, but I think the 8 ball's in the way to do that for that shot as well. I would have to think that I would have to think I have to try to get position for the 10. And even though what I'm looking at right there, that's position for the 9. Which means I would have to shoot the 9 into the corner and just go from side to side to come back to get position for the 10. So, yeah, that looks like a little bit of bottom left spin. I'm going to stay above the 8 ball. I don't think I got it. Because I wanted the cue ball to be right here because that allowed me to have a thin cut shot on the 9 ball. Oh, do I have it? What am I doing? Oh, safety. Just rolled the cue ball. Looks like Wayne at least has a 4-6 combination, but he needs to know where this 4 ball is going to go. I just don't think I would have hit it that hard. Right? When you're playing a combo like that, especially since you're playing a cut combo, you definitely need to know where that first ball is going to go. And you saw that it was pretty much heading over here. So had you just hit it a little bit softer, it probably would have been parked somewhere over here. And I don't know that with that shot right there, that might be all she wrote there. 10 ball into the side pocket. I think all I do is have some top spin because I'm elevated over the cue ball, right? So I'm elevated over a ball. So whenever I do that, I don't want to try to put any side spin because then I'm gonna end up accidentally mass saying the cue ball. Right, so usually when I'm bridged over a ball like that, I have no side spin. I just have top spin or center or even draw if I can reach underneath the center of the cue ball. This here I think is probably just a little bit of right spin on the cue ball to go from side to side to be able to play the 8 ball into the upper left corner pocket. Even though I hit it just slightly too hard. See? Isn't it obvious where I'm going? Look where he's pointing. I think here this is just a rolling cue ball. Ugh. I managed to take that one down 5-1. So this is the thing with Wayne though. Like I said, if you saw our last match, he did play better, right? And this is what you heard me say on my last live stream about the roller coaster ride. Right? Sometimes we have good nights, sometimes we have bad nights. Like that's just the name of the game. The hardest thing to swallow about this whole game here is even if Wayne played his absolute best, made good decisions. And when I say absolute best, I don't mean that he just runs the table. When I say absolute best, I'm talking about making the best, highest percent decisions possible. But every now and again, there's still a mistake in there, right? Because you can miss easy shots, you can miss medium shots, or intermediate shots. Like that's still a thing. But if you are making the best decisions possible, but you still lose, well, then that should hopefully be a loss that you can be okay with. Rather than like once you saw here towards the end, Wayne ran into basically like what I'm gonna call F it mode. Like he just pretty much went for everything after that. And then just like what I talked about even in one of our matches before, like when the snowball effect starts to kick in, like after you miss a shot that you normally should not miss, and your snowball's created, and then your snowball just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger with every mistake that you make during the lead night, which starts to make you play worse and worse and worse. It's really a hard thing to do. It's really a hard thing to do. But I always got to give my hats off to my opponents that allow themselves to come up here, and I always love it that Wayne joins in, and he'll also remind you what he was trying to do in here. So hopefully all I can say is that Wayne, when you see this stuff and you hear my advice and the advices that you hear on all my other matches, this is what helps you play. The hardest thing to do though is that no matter what you try to do, when you start getting frustrated, that's what's going to tear everybody's game down. I'm a victim of it myself, and I'm sure everybody here in the live chat is a victim of it themselves as well. It's just there's going to be those on nights and there's going to be those off nights. All you can do is try to play your best and just make good decisions, even though your execution might not be with your good decisions. And then hopefully it turns out for the best. Because at least at that point, you hopefully would just be having a good time, right? Because I know it sucks to lose, but you don't want to just get to the point to where like towards the end there where you were just really trying to chase after the out, when sometimes there were some areas where you probably could have played a decent safety that might have tipped the rack over to your favor. Keep that in mind though. Whew. All right, I got one more match. I've been trying to watch the live chat and see if there's any questions while I'm observing the match to go along with it. So I'm gonna take this time because I see I have over 100 people in here again. This is fantastic. Do me a favor if you haven't done so already. Please give this stream a thumbs up. It really does help me out in the YouTube algorithm to hopefully allow other people to discover the live stream either now or after the fact. And then, of course, it helps my channel get more exposure so that way people can observe my content. And if you haven't done so already, in the pinned comment of the live chat is a product review video for a J Flowers break cue. That product review video is where I reviewed this cue here. This is the JFBK2, otherwise known as the J-Force break cue. It came with a 13 millimeter carbon fiber shaft and it has a phenolic tip on it. It weighs 19.4 ounces. Normally retailed at $352 if you decided you wanted to buy it. But this particular one that I have here, I'm giving away. And the way I'm trying to give this away is if you watch that product review video that's in the pinned comment, if you give that video a thumbs up and then leave a comment in the comment section below, be a subscriber to my channel, and then make sure your subscription list is public. Because when that video reaches at least 1,000 likes, I'm going to do a live stream just like this, and I'm going to randomly select one of the comments out of that video. And when I select that comment, I'm going to go to that the commenter's channel, regardless if they produce content or not, because I want to be able to see their subscription list. Because if I'm in that subscription list, then that person's going to be the winner. But if I'm not in that subscription list, nor if I can't see their subscription list, then I'm just going to pick somebody else until I finally find someone that is subscribed to me that commented on that video. So I think right now that video currently sits at 568 likes. So it's got quite a ways to go. It actually only has 2 thumbs down. So that's actually really good. So really what that is 432 more. Now if it doesn't get 1,000 likes, it'll depend on like how long I want the video to just sit before I just arbitrarily just go ahead and go live and pick, but I'll make an announcement of when that's going to happen. Because the video is currently, I released it on April 9th. So it is only 16 days old, just a little over 2 weeks. So if more than enough time passes and it hasn't reached 1,000 likes, then that's probably when I'll just say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and just give the cue away. But like I said, if you can help it out, give it a watch, give it a thumbs up, because usually I tried on my previous product review videos, I tried to go off of view counts. Well, this time I just wanted to try to do likes instead, because the video already has 4,768 views. So if you can only imagine that if everybody that did watch the video, if they would have just gave it a thumbs up, provided of course that that's 4,768 unique viewers. So I don't know how often like does someone come back and watch it again, but you know, with 4,768 views and 568 likes, you would think that the video would already have 1,000 likes. But we're only halfway. We're only just a little over halfway there. So if you can help the video out, and if you want the possibility of being able to win that cue, then yeah, like I said, like the video, leave a comment, be subscribed, and make sure your subscription list is public. And then if you would, share the video around to your favorite social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Help it get some more exposure so that way it meets the criteria that I'm asking for. Otherwise, we just have to sit and wait until I just feel like, okay, I'm going to give it away. That could be a month from now. That could be 2 months from now. Who knows? It just depends. But the sooner it reaches the criteria, then the sooner that I end up giving it away. And also, like I said, if you're just new to my channel, if you like at least what I did with the APA review of my own game and then a little bit of Wayne's game as well, then consider subscribing to the channel, because this is stuff that I do quite often, where I try to at least inform everybody like how I approach an 8-ball rack. It's not always the greatest. And it's certainly not always the best, because it allows me to look at my own matches and see what I could have done better in retrospect, besides miss the shots that I ended up missing. Sometimes I'll end up seeing that there was a better decision that I could have made, so therefore I'm more aware to look out for those better decisions the next time they come back up, because they are going to come back up. So that's the benefit of me being able to share these matches. Not only does it help me, but hopefully it helps you as well, to be able to see the types of mistakes that I make. And of course, if you make similar mistakes, you might have a solution on how to fix them. Okay, now for the next match. Here's a question for everybody. If for everybody that's in the chat right now, if you play APA, what is the worst race you have ever done? Let me see it in the live chat. What is the worst race any of y'all have ever done? Pretty much I'm asking, like, have any of y'all played skill level 2s, skill level 3s, and you're like a skill level 5 or whatever, and it's a race to 4-2, 6-2, 7-2. Like, what is the worst race in a match that you've ever encountered, regardless of what your skill level is. Because for me, as a skill level 7, I have played up against a skill level 2, which means race to 7-2. Looks like Danks 9000 has had the same thing. You would think that Goba 44, you've had the 7-2 race also. You would think that those races are supposed to be pieces of cake. But what I've seen on more than one occasion is that sometimes that opponent gets a game. And they don't get a game because they ran the table. They get a game because we, as the skill level 7, accidentally knocked the 8-ball in early as we're trying to maneuver around all their stuff. We made the 8-ball unscratched because we caromed off of one of their balls that was still on the table after making the 8-ball. Right? So that's always the thing. The reason why I asked that question is not because my next match is I'm playing up against a skill level 2, but I'm going to be playing up against a skill level 4. So let's go to here. Actually, let's do this. And since I'm playing up against a skill level 4, my race here is a 5-2 race. Now, I don't know what's actually worse. All right? You would think 7-2 is worse because I have to win more games, but I don't know. What do y'all think? I think 5-2 is worse. Now, I see, Hector, you've had to do a 6-2 race. I don't know. I think because I'm up against someone that can, maybe string a 2 or 3 balls together on a consistent basis, like that, to me, that almost seems worse than playing up against a skill level 2 or a skill level 3. I don't know. That's just my opinion here. Because yeah, Goba, you happen to agree that a 5-2 race is worse because, like, I have to be more careful on my mistakes because my opponent obviously has a better skill set than a skill level 3 or a skill level 2, and then can hopefully answer back. Now, this team that we're up against on this night, they do have a skill level 7. They just didn't happen to be there on this particular night. That's why I'm here on this night. Like, if I knew the 7 wasn't going to play on this night, then I wouldn't have played. But I prepped for the best roster that they could have thrown at us, and this is what I ended up with. All right, so I got to play this skill level 4. And this is a decent skill level 4. I actually like the way this guy plays. He's very energetic with the way that he plays. He's got a lot of nice positive energy going around the table. He likes to have a good time and stuff. So yeah, with this race to 4-2, let's see how it goes. Let's see who's going to break first, me or him. Okay, looks like I won the lag this time. All right, so am I still doing a head-on break here, or am I doing a cut break yet? Let's find out. Nope, that's still a head-on break, and that was a lot of topspin. If I drove the cue ball through the rack like that, normally I try to put, maybe like this much topspin. I must have I must have dropped my elbow too soon as I followed through so far and put this much topspin and drove through the rack. But at least, hey, I made a ball on the break. Versus on the last match where I broke dry 4 times and then finally made a ball on the 5th break. All right, so, well, actually, hold on. Let's go to here and here. So I made what? I made the 5 on the break. So I'm solids. All right, so if we were to do the same thing that we did in the last match, what are my issues? Those are my issues right there. So if I were to look at this table, my objective is to be able to figure out how to solve that 2 and that 7 as soon as possible. So how would y'all try to do it? Who would try to use the 6 to break open the 2 and the 7, and who would try to use the 3 to break open the 2 and the 7? And how would you get there? Because that's the only way this is going. That's the only way this is going to happen. The 7-2 combination is not there, right? Because I'm pretty sure what I end up trying to do is I play this 1 ball into the corner, and I want my cue ball to do this, so that way I can use this 3 like this to break this open. If I don't get it from the 1 ball, I'll probably try to end up using the 4 ball to get the same exact angle on the 3 to be able to break up the 7 and the 2. At least that's what I think I remember. I shoot this left-handed. It's got to be a little bit of top left spin. And yeah, so since I didn't get it, does that mean I'm going to shoot the 4 ball? See right there, there's the angle that I'm looking for, so that way I can shoot it into the corner and then try to break open this stuff. So I am going to try to draw off the 4 ball to get that angle on the 3 that I want. Just like that, and that way I can probably just use a rolling cue ball. Now the only thing I'm worried about is, will I get a shot, right? Because all my insurance balls are gone. So this is where a little bit of luck has to come into play. All right, I get the breakout. Do I have a shot? Looks like the only thing I can shoot at is the 7. Tim Crumley, I like that you said using the 6 to break up things plays the 8 into the corner. So that makes breaking the 2 and the 7 using the 6 a little risky. That's why I ended up using the 3. I like that. Looks like I am going to try to cut this 7 ball here. Do I twist my wrist here? This is the last time I twisted my wrist. I didn't twist my wrist that time. Made the ball. Obviously, I'm not shooting at the 2 ball. Looks like I'll be going after the 6. And that means I have to put bottom right on this ball. So close to that 2 ball. Hey, look at that shot. This ends up being a break and run. Roland Star, you're asking, can you use a bridge? Yes, except I was able to reach the shot, so I was comfortable not using the bridge on that one. There is a bridge over on this side of the table here, just underneath the table. And I start this set off with a break and run. You can see I'm breaking a lot harder than I usually do because I've already, gone off of the other previous matches that I've had where I wasn't making a ball on the break, right? Just breaking dry, so I'm trying to add more power. And every time I add power, I lose control of the cue ball. You just saw how my cue ball just went off to the right after I struck the rack, and then came back. Now I at least made a ball on the break, so I'm at least thankful for that. Now here's the funny part about this rack that I remembered. I dropped a solid and a stripe on the break here, but I don't know that. I only saw the solid go into the I think it was a solid that went into the side pocket. Let's look at the break again. Or actually, never mind. I didn't see this stripe. I saw right there. You see my head turn? I saw that solid. So there was a stripe that went here into this side pocket. Whatever ball that was. And then when this ball, watch my head here. See, I turn and I see that solid drop. I didn't see the stripe drop, nor did I count the balls on the table. So here's me not even listening to my own advice. I didn't observe the entire table and realize that the table was open. I only saw that 3 ball fell, so I thought I was solids. And as you can see, I don't really have a shot at solids. The 5 ball is too far down for me to be able to cut it into the side pocket, let alone to be able to avoid the scratch. And so what I tried to do here, thinking that I was solids, was to billiard off the 7 and knock that 9 in. And I didn't even realize it, because then my opponent comes to the table, and you're going to see me, I think you're going to see me come back in right here and look down underneath. And that's when I realized the table was open. And if I would have known that, I clearly would have chosen stripes and possibly would have broken and ran the second rack. So, make sure you know what's on the table. I have to even follow my own advice. There I am right there going, oh crap, the table's open. Because I thought my opponent was stripes. All right, let's see what my opponent's going to do here. Okay, makes the 9. So he is stripes nonetheless. Had I paid attention, I would be stripes. Let's see here. It looks like he can play the 14 ball into the side pocket. It's not the first time I've made a mistake like that. I have an older match on my channel where I knocked in the 8 ball early. Oh, good shot in the side. Look how like he's all energetic when he plays. Yeah, there's an 8 ball match where I titled it early 8 ball for the LOLs. Oops, I don't think he wanted to hit that 10 ball though. All right, so it doesn't look like there's really any big issues here. It just looks like all 4 of these balls here have to go into this corner pocket. And that's probably including the 8 ball. Let's see here. Unless on this spot here I shoot the ball in, and with looks like a little bit of right spin, I come and break the 2 and the 4. Why would I want to break the 2 and the 4? I mean, do I want to try to get on the other side? I want to try to get on the other side. Like, there's no reason to break them open. Yeah, so I've got draw. Do I have some right spin on here as well? Yeah, I tried to get on the other side of them. Like there was no reason for me to hit them the way that I did. What does that mean though? Thanks 9,000. You're asking me if I play one pocket? Sometimes. There's really not a lot of players in my local area that like to play one pocket. There's only like literally there's probably like I could probably count on one hand how many of us like to play one pocket. But just like straight pool, I'm not a strong one pocket player. Like I know the basic principles of one pocket, but I don't know a whole lot of one pocket shots. Maybe after I get done with my road to 100 in straight pool, I could probably try to do some studying on some one pocket games, but we'll see. Oh, what am I doing here? Am I gonna try to combo that two in? Nope. If I had to guess, I clearly hit that too hard. If I had to guess, it makes me think that what I wanted to happen was to combo the 4 and the 2 and have the 2 come over here, and knock that 12 in, and then hopefully replace the 12. But I hit this too hard. And I ended up catching the 15 ball. That's what I would think that I would have to that I was probably trying to do. Now I'm grateful that my 4 ball tied up next to this stripe. Because with his 4 stripes out in the open, that's what I don't want. So I'm pretty sure that's what I was trying to do, which was to knock his 12 in. I could still see the 5, Derek, but it was the idea of what in the world was I going to do with the 2 and the 4. So it does me no good to make the 5 ball and then try to use the 1 ball to break out the 2 and the 4. Right? Because then all I'm doing, like, because if I fail, all I'm going to do is just give the table back to my opponent. So at that point there, all I was trying to do was to try to have a little bit of control over the table, even though I was going to give the opponent the table by blocking the pocket that he needs the most. That one, I think he just hit a little too soft. You see him, he's like, ah. I remember he actually came up to me after the match and told me how nervous he was playing me. But he's doing fine, as far as I can tell. Got a thin back cut on the 10 ball to go into the corner pocket. But then, like, this is something I know 4s don't think of. And this is usually what I try to advise everybody. Like, you make this ball, great. What do you do with this ball? Right? This is what you really have to think about. Right? He goes for it. Does he get lucky? Oh my goodness, he almost got super lucky there. Wow. Right? But if he would have just back cut his 10 ball, which is what I think he was trying to do, there's no telling whether or not if he would have had a shot on the 15. Right? So depending upon who your opponent is, right, that might be an okay strategy to go up against, but against someone like myself or similar, you you got to make sure that you want the table to be as hard as possible for me or for the opponent to come back to the table. That's actually regardless of skill level. When you know that you're not going to finish the table, you want to make sure that you leave the table in a hard condition for your opponent to have to deal with. Now, considering where that 4 ball is, I do believe, if I remember correctly, I tried to get position on it now. I think I'm going to try to spin this cue ball 3 rails around. I think I missed the 1 when I did that, though. See, watch the cue ball. See what I mean? I wanted to make the 1 ball into the corner pocket, obviously, right? But I ended up overcutting it because I caught the side rail, and I want the cue ball to come over here, maybe even knock in the 15 ball. I don't care, because I'll have position on the 4. Because from the 4, I transition either to the 2 or the 5, and then hopefully be able to finish the table from there. But since I missed the 1, who cares? I don't know. I'm kind of split on this one. I kind of like that my opponent is leaving that 15 ball in the pocket and going after this 10. I kind of do like that. But I also like just shoot the 15 into the corner pocket, get position on the 10 for the opposite corner pocket, and then be able to play the 8 possibly into the side pocket. Right? But he ends up scratching. Right? So like I don't know. Like where's everybody at on this one here? Like would y'all have tried to do the same thing? Right? Because at least the 15 ball, had he not scratched, the fact that he scratched almost makes everything irrelevant now. Because had he not scratched, my 1 ball and 4 ball are stuck. With the exception of my 1 ball can go into the bottom right corner pocket, and the 4 ball can go into the left corner pocket. Especially now that I have ball in hand. Right? That's the only unfortunate part. That's why I kind of like the decision that he made had he had more control of the cue ball. He almost made the 10 ball. He just lost control of the cue ball. Like I said, at the same time, you can easily make an argument of play the 15, play the 10, play the 8, win the rack. So, I don't know. What's everybody think about that? Because here, obviously, since I have ball in hand, I'm going to start with the 4 ball, get position for the 1 ball, because those are the 2 hardest balls that I have on the table. So once they're gone, then everything's fine because I don't care about this pocket anymore. All right, is this with a little bit of draw? Nope, I just played that with a rolling cue ball. So that means I can play this with a rolling cue ball. I'm going to try to remember what I did. Play this with a rolling cue ball and have the cue ball come out like this, so that way I can do this. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. Something like that. Okay, so I missed the I missed the first spot. This one's here has got to be with a little bit of a right spin. Come over to the side rail. Okay, I missed the rails. And I missed the spot for the cue ball on that one, but the ball's going into are at least going into the correct pocket at the very least. 8 ball corner pocket, like I said, just make sure you're not going to scratch. So this is probably just with the rolling cue ball. Probably actually a touch of left spin, so that way I come on this side of the side pocket. Now that I think about it, yeah, there we go. I take that one down, 2-0. Right there. The 1 ball moved off of the rack, so I just asked my opponent to fix it. There we go. So at least here I've been actually making balls on the break, but I'm breaking so hard I don't even like it. You see, look at that. I mean, I'm coming up, dropping the elbow, like I'm doing everything I could do to make sure that I have power, but then I just lose control of the cue ball. Like I would have to practice a whole lot more hitting that hard and trying to maintain the same amount of control that I would have on the cue ball when I normally break with just using my arm. Cue ball control, sometimes I'm glad you saw the happy face that I drew. I was warning if anybody was going to say something. All right, let's see here. Cue ball behind the head string. Opponent decides to take stripes. And actually, yeah, I think I'm okay with I think stripes is actually the better one. Let's see, Danks 9000. You're asking, when you play a lower handicap level, do you ever check? I don't ever check the rack. Like when it comes to stuff. The only time I end up checking the rack is, because you see how hard I break. Whether I'm actually trying to break hard or if I break with control, one way or the other, I expect that rack to just open up. But if I don't see that rack open up on my first break, that's it. Provided, of course, I didn't miscue or whatever. that's when I'm going to start checking the opponent's rack, because normally I don't, regardless of what their skill level is. Because it's not like there's going to be a guarantee tight rack like it's going to be like it's a magic rack or something. There's going to be gaps in the rack, and really the only gap that I'm concerned about is between the first and the second row. So as long as I don't see that head ball move, then I'm usually okay. But in that case, I saw the head ball move come off of the spot, and that's why I asked my opponent to fix the rack. Okay, 6 ball into the corner. We can see we've got a problem here with the 7 ball, but I'm probably going to deal with it right now with the 1 ball. If I shoot this 1 ball with top right spin, I should be able to come off of the short rail and then break open my 7 ball. Kind of like that. Dang, did you see how far the cue ball went to the left and then spun to the right? Look at that. Like, my cue ball literally did this. Never mind. That's this much spin. I thought I had an angle where I didn't need that much spin. I had that much spin on the cue ball in order to fling it like that off the short rail. All right, so at least the 7 ball is out in the open. The 4 ball has to go over here into the corner pocket. So what am I doing? Looks like I'm drawing off the 5. That means the 2 goes into the lower left corner. Does that mean I go from the 2 to the 4? I think I would have to. Right? The cue ball's got to go this way to get position on the 4, and then I want to use the 7 to get position on the 8. So I think I end up drawing this over above the side pocket. I think. Kind of like that. But the angle that I have here, okay, so that I think that means that my cue ball has to do this. Probably with some left spin as I try to get the cue ball to do this. Get position for the 7. And that means the 8 goes over here. And while I'm at it, let's draw another wheel here, and a wheel here, and a wheel there. Let's see what happens. There's the 2 railer. Oh, I didn't get the spot for the cue ball correct. Now, looking at this, though. Oh, you know what? I didn't even... Did I miss? I was so paying attention to the drawing that I did. I did. I missed. Never mind. Never mind. Because even with the shot that I had on the 7, that means my cue ball has to do this. 1, 2, and then come back over here to be able to shoot the 8 into the upper left corner pocket. Yeah, that's right, Dusty. The wheels fell off of the card that I drew. Chris Crawford, you're the Q length guy from the. Oh, okay. I remember when you asked about you said my Q length average was terrible. No problem, bud. Like I said, it was definitely one of those nights to where like I just wasn't playing the greatest, and I've actually gotten to a point to where like someone else said that you didn't choose the greatest of words, and so like I'm okay with constructive criticism. But if the constructive criticism just sounds like an insult, then yeah, I'm not going to take it too kindly, and that's why I responded the way that I did. And so if you're trying to help, I mean, I do appreciate that. I really do. Uh-oh. I don't think I got the position I needed. Yep, you see me slap the table? That means you're about to see a curve shot happen. So elevated Q with some left spin. Ooh, bobbled its way in. So that means the 8 ball has to go down here. And this is a position that I just do not like to be in. Like, I don't have an easy shot, because if I screw up this shot, my opponent has an open table. And again, I don't care what their skill level is. I don't want to be in this position to where if I miss that 8 ball, my opponent gets to come back to the table. Period. So you can see I'm bridged over the 10 ball. It's a difficult cut. I have to I have a little bit of topspin because I'm bridged over the 10 ball. And I end up overcutting the 8 ball. All right, so all I can hope for is that this gives him issues. Right, because there's nothing wrong with these with these three. He shoots the 10, that should allow him to naturally get position for the 12 ball, or even this ball. Oh, but he hits that one softly. Can he squeeze past the 13 to make the 15? Because if he can, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I don't, like I said, I do not like being in this position, like, at all. I gave myself a tough layout. I ran it out, but I didn't finish. So really, like, if he can just make this ball, it looks like he should have natural position for this ball here. You see that? He's like, he shot it in, like, snapped his fingers, like, looks like he's rolling some dice or something. I do think he hit that one kind of hard, though, since he's underneath the 11 ball, because now he has to allow the cue ball to either go forward and out to get position, or he has to draw it out. Unless he's going to shoot this ball. I would have thought that he could have gotten position on this ball here to go into the side pocket. That way he can just roll forward. But you can see it looks like he's shooting here. So he has to go forward and come back out to get position on the 12. Oh, but he didn't hit it hard enough. He didn't hit it hard enough. They're very animated with this shooting, too. Watch his cue. Right? Very slowly though, like not so much of an accelerating stroke, kind of just like pushing the cue ball. So he definitely needed to snap at this one a little bit more to make sure that the cue ball has enough momentum to come off of that short rail and get position on the 12. Hector, this is all the lighting that I can actually rely on because we are in a bar and every table has lights above it. So it's what I can work with because I can't bring extra lights because that, like, think about like if you're in a bar and someone's camera flash goes off, right? Because that's what extra lighting is going to look like. So this is pretty much what I have to work with. He goes for the kick shot. He almost makes the kick shot. Can you even believe that? Wow. Unfortunate miss there. Had he made it, this would be his shot. 8 ball in the corner, and I go up 3-0. Okay, here we go with the break again. Let's see if I can squat the cue ball because I am still doing a flat break. of scratching, and I make a ball. So like I said, the cue ball is actually your greatest coach, right? When you look at this break, and I have to think to myself, I'm hitting that ball as square as I possibly can, but cue ball goes off to the right. So if the cue ball goes off to the right, that means I hit slightly to the right of center between the cue ball and the head ball, which is what I don't want to do. I want to hit that head ball as flat as I can from the approach angle at which I'm coming from, so that way the cue ball can just pop straight back and then hopefully halt near the center of the table with the little bit of topspin that I have there. So whenever you're working on your break, that's what you should be looking at. If you're breaking on the left side of the table, you would hope that your cue ball doesn't cross to the right and hit the right side rail, because that tells you that you're cutting the head ball on the right. If you're breaking from the right side of the table and your cue ball goes off to the left and hits the left side rail, that means the same thing, right? So pay close attention when you're actually breaking, unless of course you're doing a dead center head-on break, which I normally don't recommend. I at least recommend a little bit of an angle, slightly off-centered, but always watch where your cue ball goes after the break, because that's going to tell you where you're hitting on the rack. Now, does that mean are you not aiming correctly, or like what I do here, because I'm trying to use so much power, am I losing my tip to cue ball accuracy, and the cue ball might be squirting a little bit after I make contact on the cue ball? You really got to just narrow it all down. But the biggest tell is going to be watch that cue ball. If the cue ball doesn't pop straight back, it's definitely going to tell you that you hit the cue ball slightly, or I'm sorry, you hit the head ball slightly off center, which in my case is what I don't want to do, since I'm trying to just hit it head on and squat the cue ball right in the middle of the table. Lots of notifications here. All right, so I scratched on the break. My opponent takes cue ball in hand in the kitchen, decides to take stripes, undercuts that ball there. Let's see here. So I'm solids. Right here. The 6 ball goes, and that probably at least allows me to play into the 10, but more than likely, I shoot this ball here, right spin on the cue ball, break open the 6 and the 4. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Let's look at that again. What did I call wrong? Or did I just not put enough spin? Or was I trying to run into the 10 ball? Maybe that was it. Maybe I was trying to run into the 10 ball so that way I just have a shot at the 4. But like I said, if I can land in this window here, I can shoot the 6 and move the 10 out of the way. That was with top right spin. Did I get enough of it? I don't think I did. Yep, I look a little disappointed. I don't know who's calling me at 9:30 at night. It's a number I don't recognize. What am I doing? Can I see the 7? Oh, I could. I must have thrown it in, because if we look at that shot again, look where I'm cueing on the cue ball. A little bit of left spin. You can see I kind of just tap it because I'm just like slightly trying to swerve around the 5 and then throw the 7 ball in. And if that ball passes by, I definitely want to stun. I think I want to stun the cue ball somewhere over here. Oh, never mind. I wanted to stun the cue ball for the 4 ball. So I guess there's enough space in between the 4 and the 10 for me to be able to cut the 4 ball into the corner pocket. Dusty, is someone trying to reach me about my extended warranty? Now, the only thing I can hope for here is that if I pocket the 4 ball, can I knock the 6 out and have a shot at it? Kind of like that. And so now that means I would want to hopefully hit this with top left spin and have the cue ball do something like this. Come out here for the 8 in the side. And let's see if I do this, put a window here. We'll put the door handle, put another window here. Here's my wheel, and here's a wheel, and here's a wheel. Oh, I ran into the 14 ball. Never mind. I still got over here, though. That means I want to try to do this and hopefully avoid that, right? See, I'm looking. If this is the shot line, that means the tangent line should go here. Should. Unless, of course, because of how far I have to back cut it, if this is the line, that means the tangent line looks like this. And that's where it gets really tricky. But what do I end up doing instead? And y'all know I can cut a ball, and I'm not afraid to cut a ball, but I'm not going to do this because the scratch is on. But you see, I'm looking and looking until I finally say, screw it. I'm going to bank the ball instead. And I'm pretty sure I just have center left spin, so that way I can kind of throw the 8 ball towards the right off of the first rail. Because if I remember correctly, that this was almost a dead bank. And see, it went clean in and didn't even touch the rail on the way in. And that puts me on the hill. Okay, try to go for another 8 ball break. There, the 8 ball's moving. I made a ball. Now, fun fact, Dr. Dave has been releasing quite a few videos on break cheat codes. And one of the cheat codes that I saw on the 8 ball break, because I always tell y'all that I use a lot of bottom spin and I use a little twist of right spin, so that way the cue ball spins to the side rail and comes back. Dr. Dave showed that you actually only need to hit the break like this. And I've actually tried it this way, and it works better. It works a lot better. And so I've been breaking, not in these matches, but I've been doing the second ball break with more of a center ball hit. And actually, I do put a twist of left spin, so that way I can try to pull the cue ball back towards the middle of the table. And I've actually been seeing a lot better results that way. Now from here, it looks like I claim solids, and it looks like I'm going to go for a 7-5 combination. Because that means I'm going for the break and run. If I'm going for this combo, I'm going for the break and run. So nailed the combo there. Now I just got to figure out what to do here. Let's see. Am I back cutting that 2 ball? Oh, never mind. Oh, holy cow. Broke the 6 out. So that's good. I have to shoot the 1 now. So this is a similar shot. I had almost the same type of shot on the first rack that I broke and ran on, except this shot was the 6 ball, and the 6 ball was higher up. Now, it's a little bit more difficult because I'm bridged over the 8 ball, but I am going to try to cut the 1 ball down here. And look at that. Ah, look at that. If I'd have made that ball, I don't know what I would have done after that. Because this ball blocks the 6 ball. I would probably have to bank. I don't know if I could back cut the 2 ball or if I would have to bank it. But I was trying to go for the break and run on that one. Okay, so my opponent gently plays that ball into the side pocket. He's got a fairly wired up combo here. He just gently rolls the 12 into the 10. The 12 will replace the 10, and he can shoot the 12 next if he chooses. And actually, I wouldn't shoot the 12 and the 10. I would shoot the 13 into the 10, because the 13 is kind of an issue with that 8 ball being there. Now see, what I don't know is if my opponent's leaving that stuff there because he's worried about not finishing the table, which is a thing. Right? Because he takes this out, that allows him to get position on the 9, and that actually allows him to get position on the 14, which is good. If he can just roll this ball in, his cue ball should hopefully come somewhere right around here, and that'll get him position for the 14 to go here. Then he can deal with this. So this actually puts him in a pretty good spot. That puts him in a really good spot. You know, I tell you what, though. Look at this dude's hands. I would not want to get punched by those hands. That's a lot of bling. Now he doesn't want. I don't think he wants the cue. He doesn't want the cue ball to roll on this one. He looks like he's hitting this high. Okay, that works out. And like I said, here I would gently play the 13 into the 10. If he chooses the 12 into the 10, he might have an issue. Now see, he was going for the 12 into the 10. Had he made that, I'm not sure what he would have been able to do with the 13 ball. I think if anything, if he would have controlled this hit a little bit better, so that way he knew that he can actually access the 13 ball to combo into the 10 ball, that probably would have been able allowed him to be able to finish the rack. I think. You saw the way he cleared what he cleared there, so I think he could have cleared the table had he just paid a little bit more attention to the shot that he did here and set up for that 13-10 combo. All right, so what am I doing here? Rolling cue ball, 6 in the side. Okay, now what? Do I play the 2 and attempt to move the 8? No. That gesture made me think I'm going to play the 1. I want to get position on the 2 along this line here so I can get over here for the 8 ball. What do I play this with? Is this just a rolling cue ball as well? Yep. Except that's where I want it, because I have to think that my cue ball is going to do this. Or I want my cue ball to do this. There's no other explanation that I can think of. All right, let's see, we got the bottom spin. Maybe just a twist of left spin. You see there where it's me. Here's a question for everybody. Y'all saw that guy. He was trying to be polite and stopped. The only problem was he stopped in my line of vision. And so I finally got up and said, hey, go ahead and go. I would prefer they just keep on going. Do not stop in my line of vision. Just keep on going, because there's people all around me, right? So it's not like that's a distraction for me. But if you stop in my line of sight, that will actually distract me, and it'll cause me to do something like this. I'll just get up and say, go ahead and keep on going. How many of y'all are the same way? Would y'all prefer them to keep going, or would y'all prefer them to stop? Or would y'all prefer them to stop before they get into your line of sight? All right, looks like I'm gonna try to cut the 8 in the corner. This has got to be with some right spin, so I can make sure that this side pocket doesn't come into play. And there we go. And I was able to take that one down 5-0. And like I said, a 5-2 race. I think there was at least a couple of times my opponent could have at least grabbed a rack if he just pays a little bit more attention to his pattern selection. I think, and I say mainly focus on the pattern selection because the cue ball control doesn't necessarily need to be there. With some of the layouts that he had, like a lot of the shots that like that on this last one here, where he pretty much did a decent run, was just with center ball hits, right? So if he can just work on that a little bit more, then I think he can clean up some racks nicely here. I think I want to say that I saw at least 2 opportunities where I think my opponent could have taken a rack from me. It just fell just a little short, just a little short. Whew. Okay. Well, that's pretty much going to do it for tonight. Let's see. This lasted almost 3 hours. That's pretty much what I wanted to get out of this. So I hope there was enough back and forth discussion. Got a lot of activity here in the live chat, which I always like to see when I go back and rewatch everything and timestamp everything. So that way people that watch this after the fact can hopefully just jump around and be able to watch certain racks or whatever. So I can only hope, like I said, that when I watch my own stuff and review it for everybody, so everybody can see all the human mistakes that I make, watching my own mistakes only benefits me, so that way I can figure out things that I do wrong and I try to figure out how to correct them. So what I hope that does to benefit you is if you end up having the same type of issues, you run into the same type of scenarios, you make the same type of mistakes, and get to hopefully hear either from me or from someone in the live chat ways that you can possibly fix those mistakes that you make, so hopefully you make them less and less. Because let's face it, you're not going to be able to fix a mistake 100%, because if we could do that, we would be professional pool players. We'll be able to hopefully increase the chances of us not making the same mistakes as often. The objective is to reduce the mistake from happening more and more, and so that way we're just, am I saying the right word? We want to reduce the number of mistakes we make during a game by taking whatever mistakes that we make and hopefully not do them as much in future matches, because they're going to happen again. Like I said, that's what makes us human. We're going to miss certain shots even when we make corrections and we make a shot. We make that shot the next time, but we might miss it the next time after that. That's the roller coaster ride of the game of pool that I've always been talking about. But the objective for me to be able to review my own matches for everybody to see is to see how I can make those mistakes less and be more successful the next time those scenarios pop up. So I can only hope that what you see here also helps y'all as well. Let's see here. Al's metal detecting. I do have your email. I'm going to respond to it here soon. But I think that's pretty much going to wrap things up for me tonight. I will do one last plug. If you look at the pinned comment up above, like I said, I am giving away this JFlowers JF Force brake cue. I did a product review video of this about 2 weeks ago, and I would like that video to get 1,000 likes before I give it away to a lucky subscriber. So in order for you to be able to possibly win this cue, I will take it out one last time. Let you get a sneak peek of what it looks like. And it says this is the JF BK2, otherwise known as the JF Force brake cue. This is an embossed leathered grip that actually feels quite nice. This cue weighs 19.4 ounces, and it comes with a 13 millimeter carbon fiber shaft, and they do have joint protectors. And you'll also be getting this case that I have it with. And so to be an eligible contestant to possibly win this cue, you have to watch the product review video that's in the pinned comment above. Give that video a thumbs up, because I want that video to reach at least 1,000 likes. and then leave a comment in the comment section of that video. Be subscribed to my channel, and then make sure that your subscription list is public. So that way, after the video gets 1,000 likes or enough time passes by and it just takes too long, I'm going to do another live stream where I'm going to randomly select a comment out of that video. And whoever's comment gets selected, when I go and look at their channel, regardless if they produce content or not, if I can see their subscription list and I'm in that subscription list, then that person will be the winner. Because if I'm not in that subscription list, or let alone I can't see the subscription list, then you're not going to be an eligible winner, and I'm just going to select somebody else. So in order to help get that video to reach its goal, I also could use your help in sharing the video around to your favorite social medias, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. Help it get its exposure. What I can tell you right now, after I refresh the page, the video currently has 576 likes. So quite a ways to go, and the video is only 2 weeks old. I published it on April 9th. So it could be a month from now or 2 months from now if I wait long enough for it to have 1,000 likes, or I just get tired of waiting and I eventually just go ahead and try to raffle it off to a lucky subscriber. All right, so like I said, that's pretty much going to be it for tonight. Stay tuned for tomorrow, where I'm going to release my next high run, because I got a new high run today. I'm just not going to tell you what it is. But the current high run for my road to 100 is no longer 56. So is it 57, 58? You're just going to have to wait till tomorrow to find out, because I got to edit that video up, and then I'm pretty much going to publish it. And then, my next live stream? It might be Wednesday night. It might be, because I'm not going to release a video and do a live stream again like I did last time. I'm just going to release a video, and that's it. So yeah, so I think my next live stream might be either Wednesday or Thursday night, and that's going to be probably some more straight pool. And I do have 2 more APA matches from the same session that we just watched. And then next Monday starts the new session where I'm going to be playing on both Monday and Wednesday. So hopefully you're going to start seeing me play up against some new opponents. Just have to wait and see if they're going to be okay with me publishing the matches on YouTube. Just have to wait and see. But until then, I want to thank the 54 of y'all, or at least I think it's 54 of y'all that are still here. For those that popped in and out, thank you so much for being here. And like I said, for those that made it all the way here to the end, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, like I said, please give this stream a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and this is the first time you've ever seen something like this, maybe consider subscribing. But if this wasn't enough for you, then check out the content that I have on my channel, and then maybe I can earn your subscription from there. So until next time, everybody, have a good night.